Hello from the paint desk. My name is Bruce. Here's my fun hands. And with me tonight is the ever lovely Mrs. Janet from another planet.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Thank you for showing up.
How are you tonight,
I
Janet?
don't bore you too much.
How have you been?
I'm good.
Good.
Busy.
Yes.
Busy.
Yes. Last night, sorry about the technical difficulties I had. I think we're going to probably start doing our share movie night on Rumble, just so we can see if not Rumble, but if Gilded is going to be a better place than Discord.
Mm-hmm.
We'll share that in the chats before we go any further.
Why do you think Discord's the one that's hiding it from you?
Not Discord, but Discord had real problems last night. Everybody was complaining that the movie stopped midway.
Yeah, I figured that was the website that you were getting it from.
I had no problem with the website. I watched the entire movie off of it.
Okay.
It's just a pirate site. That's all. Yar.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I bought it legally, but I could not do the watch party. I don't know what the hell the problem was. So we'll figure out what's going on. In the chat.
We should have tried it earlier. We need to not wait till the last minute.
Yeah, that's true.
So that we have a chance to try to fix it before we're supposed to be actually watching the movie. That might make a difference.
In here first for the night is our friend, the Crafting Gamer.
Hello.
And I'm not finished with this yet. I'm still working on this guy. I love this little character. He's great. Then I have Miss Janet saying something to the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Evening, everyone. Got salmon in the oven, so we'll be bouncing back and forth till dinner's ready. I blame the rampant censorship of our Banana Republic, but I digress. Okay, yeah. That's what I read. But I digress. Obviously, he's got the same problems that I have. My hands. I have lesbian hands. These are some sausage fingers, okay? These things are fat. Lesbians love my hands. All right. Now that I've completely alienated my audience, every man can look down at his hands and be like, "Baby, see, you should love me more. I have lesbian hands. I have sausage fingers." Okay. So we watched this movie.
I don't understand that, but go ahead.
Well, they're just fat. These are fat, swollen, girthy fingers.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about being soft. Hi, Timothy.
There are softer men in work in retail than most lesbians I know. Most lesbians I know you can find on right now they're at a bowling alley somewhere in Sheboygan. But if you ever want to make a punchline hit, if you just say the word "they're in Sheboygan," like all of a sudden everybody just laughs because Sheboygan is just a funny fucking name for a town. Hello, our good friend Flady1, our dirty campaigner. How are you today, sir? Hopefully you're enjoying your time off and you're enjoying those wonderful, wonderful vintage comic books and those stories that were lovingly crafted back in a better day. I'm in the middle of intermittent fasting. Either it's low blood sugar or a microstroke impeding my typing ability.
Probably both.
Probably. Don't be like me, Six Nations. And he does not have a Joyman accent, so don't think he's one of those. Good to hear. Janet, we watched a movie. I watched a movie, and because of the interwebs being just such pricks, many of you were robbed of that, and I didn't realize it. I couldn't even hear you. Discord completely just shit the bed last night. It Amber Hearded our time together, and I apologize.
Well, now I understand why you guys were talking about Amber Heard last night. I didn't understand. Hi, Terry. Thank you for stopping in. Appreciate it. But yeah, I was the one that wanted to do this movie because when the first time I saw it, I just was overtaken with sadness over the whole thing, the whole story, because it's so true. Okay, so many bad things happen to young women on Indian reservations, and because their government basically is set up differently than ours, even though it's overseen by the federal government. Local sheriffs and things like that they just don't do anything. They don't have anything to do with it. And they have their own police forces, but they're such low amount of people that they're able to hire for the money that they have, considering the territory, the amount of land and territory they have to oversee. So that's why this was, I don't know, it just really touched me the very first time I got to see it. When I found out Bruce hadn't seen it before, I really wanted him to see it. And not just because of that, but every time I've seen the lead actors, both of them, Elizabeth Olsen and Jeremy Renner, in the movies that we've seen them in, they just, to me, have not topped this acting abilities from this movie, to me. Nothing else that I've seen them in, either one, has equaled to the acting abilities that I saw in them both in this movie. So, hopefully they will one day get another great movie to put them in. Because to me, this right here is the kind of movie that wins awards. Hero movies like Superman and Batman and, Guardians of the Galaxy don't win awards. This type of movie, I think, does. The writing was good. The acting was excellent. The scenery was beautiful. The costumes, I mean, everything about this movie, it's just really hard to find any flaws in it. I'm not saying there aren't any flaws. I'm just saying it's very hard to find them because this is just so well done. I just loved it. And I was really happy to have Bruce get to see it for the first time. So, Bruce, you go ahead and you talk to us a little bit about your experience of getting to see this movie.
This movie's leading me down a rabbit hole. I don't know who Taylor Sheridan is. He obviously was inspired to write the movie script because of all the missing or unclosed cases of felonies or mistreatment for the young ladies on indigenous lands in America. And that's kind of something that, we see down here too, even in San Antonio, where Hispanic demographic heavily outweighs the Anglo or Western European. Just because of that doesn't mean anything. You still have a lot more crimes perpetuated by individuals against the females of the minorities here.
Mm-hmm.
And I just have a piece of trivia pulled up. During the course of the shoot, writer-director Taylor Sheridan was visited on set by Shoshone tribal leaders. They astonished him with the revelation that at the very time there's 12 unsolved murders of young women on a reservation of about 6,000 people. Mm-hmm. Due to a 1978 landmark government ruling, Oliphant versus Squamish, the Supreme Court stripped tribes of the right to arrest and prosecute non-natives that commit crimes on native land. The Supreme Court, I need to repeat this again for you. The mm-hmm. Supreme Court stripped the tribes of the right to arrest and persecute non-natives who commit crimes on native land. So if neither victim or perpetrator are native, the county or state officer must make the arrest. And if the perpetrator is non-native and victim is an enrolled member, only a federally certified agent has that right.
Mm-hmm.
So if the opposite's true, a tribal officer can make the arrest, but the case must still go to federal court. And the quagmire creates such a jurisdictional nightmare by choking up the legal process on reservations to such a degree so many criminals go unpunished indefinitely for serious crimes.
Mm-hmm. I can believe that.
This movie,
you've seen how much red tape there is in our system.
Yeah.
If you have the cheddar, pretty much you can drag it out as long as you want and outlast the people who don't have the cheddar. So if they're rich and you're not, and you're the one that was assaulted, then more than likely you're never going to get your money or get, restitution for what happened to you, simply because the law doesn't work in your favor. And it's the same thing on a reservation, except that it's like 1,000 times worse because it takes even longer. And most of the time it just they never find any justice. They never get it. And that's why I just love this movie. I just think it shows you so many things, the depth uh, of how deep some of this stuff could go, you know, because you have different agencies that contract out the oil drillers, right? And then you have the electrical lines that go through the power lines. Then you have the fish and game wardens, you know, like that's what Jeremy Renner's part was, to take out the coyotes and things like that. So because you know they weren't allowed to do it either. They're allowed to take, you know, like the whole thing with the buffalo and all that stuff. They were allowed to shoot so many, you know, to eat and things like that, and different animals like bears and wolves and things. But they weren't allowed to do it, you know, just to get them, you know, just to kill them. They had to do it because they were getting their you know, livestock or different things like that. So that's why it really isn't. Even though everybody bitches and moans that the Indians have casinos, they have their own land, they don't have to pay taxes. The thing is, believe me, it's not as great as everybody seems to think it is, because it isn't.
No.
There are so many rules and regulations. They're not allowed to do certain things, even on their own land. You know, like let's say you have 10 acres of land and you're trying to raise sheep, you know, or whatever. And then you got wolves killing half of them, and you got coyotes, and you got hawks, you got, you know, rattlesnakes, you got all these different creatures out there, and you're trying to take care of your family and raise something, milk, meat, to whatever else to sell, to make a living. And every time you want to kill the wolf or whatever, you get in trouble, or you get fined by the government because they found out you killed a wolf that had a tracker on it, you know, things like that. So it's really sad. People think that they got it made, but they don't. Most of the people live just like what you saw. They live in trailer houses or little rinky-dinky houses. They're not rich. Okay. Yeah, there's a few that's rich. Just like in our normal everyday life, we have multimillionaires and some billionaires here and there, the 1%ers. Well, they have the same thing. Their society is exactly the same, except the justice system is like at the bottom of the barrel for almost every single reservation. So that's one thing I really wanted people to see, is the story inside the story, which he's really good at, the writer of the script and the director for this movie. It's showing you that.
This movie has the most deliberate slow burn I've seen since watching No Country for Old Men. This firmly stands in that same tier of film for me. If you are like Bruce, you're just procrastinating, you're not even painting. Okay, fine. Well, here's the end of movie review. I loved it. There you go. Go away. But this movie has an amazing setup and payoff, and you first see the young lady running through the snow, and it occurs to you like she's running on ice barefoot.
Mm-hmm.
And then she collapses, and then through reasons that are there medically, but I'm not educated in that aspect, you watch her die. And I just figured, well, she finally passed out because the cold, and then you see the blood around her mouth. And
well, you don't really know because she's got blood on her. So you don't know if she's been stabbed or shot, or if she got attacked by a bear.
I'm pretty certain none of those things happened because she was running. If she got attacked by a bear or got stabbed or shot, I don't think she'd be running for as long as what she did.
Well, we didn't know how long she ran.
We only see her for like 30 seconds where she's running, and then she collapses, but there's nobody around. There's nothing around. Mm-hmm. So I assume she'd ran for at least a mile or two, but she's running in ice barefoot. And when I see all this going on, like, I kind of get the idea that this is something that you shouldn't want to have happen. Mm-hmm. And then when she expires right there, it's like, oh, that sucks. But there's a lot that starts to go on. And then when you realize just who Jeremy Renner is, okay, fine, he's an authority figure, but he's not really an authority figure. He's just a patsy from the USG that he's there to do a job, and he understands his job, but obviously he's got some shit going on in his own head. And mm-hmm. when he meets Banner, he's not really forthright on a whole lot. Like, she has to literally peel the onion 1 inch at a time. Mm-hmm. with her tongue. at a
Yeah.
slow burn, and she's not able to do that. She wants the answers right away. She wants answers, bam, bam. She's young, she's impatient, but she's smart, but she's not experienced, and you see that. And the dynamic between those two, and then the addition of Graham Greene, who's probably one of my as a Native American, he's been one of the most famous ones in celluloid history that I can recall. He does such a great job in this movie,
Mhm.
and I think his presence helps kind of regulate Matt and Banner. I think he helps regulate those two and bring them down to where they can see eye to eye. And that was something that I really took home, because he seemed to just enhance the ability of communication, because he realizes he might be a Navajo authority or an Indian authority,
Mhm.
but he isn't shit. And nobody in this movie, even Ashley Olsen's character, she isn't shit. She's just a patsy that's thrown there until some of the weather breaks
Yeah,
and they can
her
throw qualified
character
people.
reminded me a lot of the movie with Clarice in it. Remember
Oh,
Clarice
yeah.
in Silence of the Lambs?
Mhm.
She was just a young FBI agent in over her head. She really didn't know what she was getting into because she was uh, spry. She wasn't, well educated when it came to being out on the field. You know what I mean? And doing things out there amongst the people and solving crimes. Most of her stuff seemed like maybe she did a lot of things at a desk, or
I got
maybe,
that.
walking into the cigarette store, that someone was selling cigarettes underage or something like that, little petty small crimes. So when they heard about this, they figured it was like any of the other missing people, you know what I mean? Or a person that was found dead was probably, she just died of whatever, that type of thing. They probably didn't, they just threw somebody there because they had to. That's how I felt about it. They didn't really care. The government didn't seem to care. They just threw her in there. The thing is, they didn't realize the person they threw in there was a little fireball, basically, even though she was little and experienced, she was she wanted to solve it, because as soon as she saw what the mother was going through, when she went in. And that was what I like that part. The way the husband just said, go in there, go talk to her. Because he was trying to be an asshole about it. But what he didn't realize is that because she saw that, she became mentally and physically connected to this crime. It made her see the human side of it as a woman and a one-day mother. She couldn't help herself. She felt like she had to find out what happened to this girl and who did it. That thing. She was very determined after seeing that, the grief that her mother was going through. And I just thought that was so good. The detail that this director went through to give us insight like that for character arcs for these characters, all of them, even the trivial ones, the ones that really weren't in there very long, that only had a very small part. They all had an impact of a good
Every
impact.
part in this movie furthers the narrative. Like there are some movies where you just like meet characters and they have an unresolved. We'll just call it the J.J. Abrams effect. You meet a character and they say a couple lines and they earn a paycheck, but their impact on the movie is fucking minimal. And when their character is not on the camera, you're not wondering what happened to that character. You don't give a shit, because it's
Yeah,
an endless parade, an endless stream of
yeah.
shitty character interactions. But in this movie here, you get to see a lot of aspects of the res, and you get to see like all the things that are happening, good and bad, on the reservation. And you see
Mhm.
the kid that like he's lost his way and he's high on shit. He's high on drugs, got the wrong people around him, and he's got good parents, but he's not choosing to listen to them. He's listening to the drugs or whatever fucking dopamine he's searching for. He's got a hold of it, or it's got a hold of
Mhm.
him, more importantly. So you see all these aspects of it, but his character doesn't stick around on screen that long. In fact, his character mainly is for me, it was like he was there to kind of be an asshole and show you like this is like the atypical 20 something on scene, but he also provoked Renner into a physical altercation in the back of that squad car. And
Hmm.
he got his comeuppance. Don't be a little dick to people. I mean, last thing you want to do is like taunt a man about his dead daughter, and he got appropriate response.
Yeah, the thing is about that one scene in the back seat, okay? Um, you knew he was a dad and he had a young boy, okay? You didn't really know that they had a daughter that died, that he had an older daughter that was dead. You didn't know a lot about it at the beginning, right? So
No,
you got little tidbits here and there about them having an older daughter, and him and his wife are now separated. I don't think they were divorced yet.
no, I
Uh,
don't think they're divorced yet. I,
yeah,
I think
but they
I
were
think there's
separated because I think
yeah.
the death of their daughter was just too much, and their marriage just couldn't make it through it. It was just more
There
than
are
the
relationships
wife
like
and
that.
husband could handle. And so many marriages break up when there's something like this, a tragedy like this that happens
You, you're
in
gonna
your family.
you're
But the
you're gonna
thing is,
pick on me for a second here, but this movie kind of is in the same field as a lot of other films. It's a very fine movie, but Renner's performance, like in 17 and 16, he plays these characters that he plays a tortured man very well.
mhm,
And in The Arrival, like you can tell him and Amy Adams are gonna probably do something. But Amy
mhm,
Adams is got the ability to see the future, although she doesn't realize it yet, and she realizes that she's given a daughter. And you can tell that the daughter probably is going to be the progeny of her and Renner's character. And the daughter, I believe, has a tragic ending. But because Amy Adams wants that motherhood experience, she wants to love something. She's okay with Renner and her failing the relationship. She wants the daughter, and I think Renner really leveled up between 15 and 18
mhm.
his acting chops because he turned in some amazing performances. And this, if you've not seen a good Jeremy Renner fan, I'll just say that I apologize. We tried to watch it last night in my channel, Discord, Amber Hearded, and I got to see it.
It
And
wasn't so bad. We got to watch. We got the gist of the whole movie. It was only a couple little things in the end. I was on in Discord where it was like it stopped and you could still hear what was happening. It's just that the film had to catch up to the
yeah,
sound, but that was okay. Uh,
well, I
but because the
apologize.
most important scene that you had to see was the scene in the trailer.
Yeah,
That scene. And as far as I could tell, it didn't glitch or anything during that whole scene. And man, I was choking up big time again. I always get choked up because it's just so hard to see stuff like that happen to anyone, whether they're a man or a woman. Sorry, I'm gonna get emotional thinking about it, but that's why I love this movie because it's so deep. It goes into so much detail about the torture that these people went through, and that some people that can get up and go to work every day and be this evil and you not even know it, and they're standing right next to you. It gives you an insight to what reality of humans really can be. And a lot of people make fun of me because I say I don't want people to know my name, my last name, or know where I live and things like that, because what happened to this girl in this movie can happen to any of us.
what was
Okay.
that, Mrs. Smith?
You can't let your guard down. We want to, because human nature means you want to be friends with people. You want to hug. You want to
You
you
want to
want to
be
get to know
vulnerable.
more and more people and share life experiences. But we have evil in the world. We really do. Really horrible evil. So many un things that you don't want to know. Things that you never want to see. And if you do see them, you can never forget them. You can never get rid of them.
You know,
So
I
that
there was
scene
there
in
was
this movie just tore me up. I mean, it's just hard, not just what happened to her, but what her lover, the man that loved her and wanted to spend the rest of his life with her, what he went through trying to protect her from the bad people.
And the problem that I have with this movie is that this is John Bernthal's finest character he's ever played. He's the nicest guy he's ever played in this movie. Mm-hmm. And his character gets fucking waxed. Like, damn it. You know, and he goes out fighting like a real man. You know, he goes out.
He was the only real man in that trailer.
Yeah. Everybody
else as a woman watching it.
You know, their real moral compass was busted and they were willing to do bad shit. They were, I fucking hate this, but hey guys, I'm not exactly lily white, so let's just you know, just be honest with each other for just a second. When you've got more money than common sense, you buy things you probably shouldn't. You do things you probably shouldn't. I think some of us have all been there before. Most of us have. But I'm going to tell you that your test comes whenever you do get that chance to have those things. And a lot of those guys living that life that are upset they're on a reservation and there's no girls, there's no beer, there's nothing to do. Let me tell you what they're wanting. They want to go to work for 12 hours and then go to a fucking strip joint for 12 hours and then try to go to work for another 12 hours without sleep. They want to be irresponsible little kids and they want to get hurt. They won't tell you they want to get hurt, but they're going to get hurt. They're going to cost their company thousands, if not millions of dollars. So guys like that are pieces of shit. And I used to work alongside that all the time.
There's a lot of them. I hate to say.
And the thing is that this movie, it showed it really well. Like even the security guards on site were not morally proper, and we got a chance to see that in its ugliness, you know. And I really valued how this movie turned out. I think this is probably one of the best performances for Renner, Olsen, Bernthal that I've ever seen. Graham Greene, this is just another feather in his cap, and of his many feathers. The guy is a fucking acting deity. He's really he's great. But damn it. And I mean, damn it.
The thing is, the whole movie is in a desolate emptiness, basically, like from the movie A Never-Ending Story. Okay. The nothingness is coming. Okay. It's going to envelop everything because basically there's nothing out there but trees, rocks, snow, and animals. Basically, it's just desolate. I mean, it's destitute. There's just miles and miles of nothingness. Basically, you got a trailer here and a trailer over there. So if you were running for 5 miles, screaming at the top of your lungs until your lungs burst because they filled with crystallized blood, no one would hear you. You know, that alone, just thinking about that aspect of it, it's frightening to me as a person that fears something like that could happen. You know, to me, not to me like that personally, but the fear of being attacked or being murdered in my bed or something like that. That's why I don't live where I used to live anymore, because I did have a few things like that scared me, and I just wanted to be somewhere else. But it takes a lot of getting used to. If you're not born and raised in that environment, it's a huge, it can really be depressing. So in a way, I could understand how these guys are getting stir crazy out there. There's blizzards, there's nothing to do. To me, the position they were in, they should only be able to be in those type of positions for so many months, just like what they do in the Navy. Okay, you go out on a submarine or a boat, and you shouldn't be out there for a certain amount of time without other people, you know, without TV, things to keep you busy, play pool, games, other interactions, you know, with people, that type of thing. So it's just not for your psyche. It just isn't good. And as you could tell, these people were either already narcissistic pigs when they went up there, and just being in the isolation made it worse. But you got to remember, if you listen to everything that was happening in the movie, more than just this one girl had died or disappeared. Remember, up in the mountain, they found more bodies up there. So somebody was killing young women and taking their bodies and dumping them up there anyways. And so basically it was this gang of guys that would just get girls, take them up there, gang bang them and rape them and beat them to death, and then take them up there and dump them so they wouldn't be able to tell on them. So it was pretty disgusting. I mean, did you think about it? So
the part of this movie that kind of knocked me for a loop was how possibly Emily might have had the same thing happen. That's Lambert's deceased daughter in this movie.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That in the back of his mind, when he goes to see his friend and he's trying to tell him, you have to grieve, you have to cry, you have to get it out of your system, because if you hold it in, you're going to lose everything. You're going to lose your humanity. You're going to lose every good memory you've ever had with your daughter. It's all going to be gone because you're going to be filled with hate, and that's all you're going to have. And I just thought that was so touching to see two men get to hug and cry together, because most men that I know, they're too proud to do that. But I know they need it, because there's nothing wrong with it. To me, seeing a man cry does not, to me, make him weak. Okay. If he's just crying all the time, I nobody likes me or something like that, would be different. But a man crying because he lost his child, or because his wife died or his parent died, it's just stupid to say, oh, quit being a pussy or whatever. It's just dumb, because you're allowed to have frickin' feelings. And if more men would let themselves say, fuck it, I'm going to go in here, I'm going to beat something up, and I'm going to hug my wife, and I'm going to cry, and then I'm going to make love, period. And be a man about it. Get it out of your system. But the thing is, there's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't make you less of a man. To me, it makes you more of a man, because a real man can admit that he's broken. Okay. And that he needs another person, like his wife or his girlfriend or his mom or his dad or his best friend, to give him a hug because he just lost the love of his life, or his daughter just died, or his dog died. You know what I mean? And to me, that's why I like this movie. It's a movie that lets you see men, tough men that live out in the middle. They're mountain men, basically. They kill their own food. Okay. They cook. It's a hard life, yet they're still men. They're trying to raise their children. They're trying to take care of their families. They're doing the same things because they're men. They want to provide for their family, and it's not easy. But there's nothing wrong with being a man and letting your feelings show sometimes. Believe me, a real woman wants a man that wants to be a man to her. When she feels like she's the only one that can hug him and love him and try to help him through something because he's trying to help her, and do it together. I'm telling you right now, every woman, that's what a woman wants. A woman wants a partner, someone who wants to be her best friend and wants to be her lover. That's what she wants. At least this woman does. And every friend that I have, and all my sisters are that way. So, that's all I know. I can only share what my feelings, and to see these two men in this one scene. And at the end, when he says, go get him. So
I really appreciated that, because, Martin's like, you're driving this Fed around so she don't get lost. Is that it? Well, it's what they asked me to do, not what I'm doing. Then what are you doing? Mm-hmm. I'm a hunter, Martin. What do you think I'm doing? Well, if you find out who did this, I don't care who it is. You understand me? Corey nods, right where they stand. And get off my porch and go do it. And I fucking love that.
Yeah, but see, he cried. They hugged and cried, but he left. When they left, the last things they said were manly. They were back to being just men that want to kick some ass. So I just loved it. I just thought it showed you the human side of men. I just thought it was really good, in that you could be with your best friend and show your true feelings, and they didn't look at each other in any other way different. They still accepted each other as men. And I just don't think that's pussy or anything bad about that. I don't think that's wimpy in any way. And I hope that none of the guys that you guys got to watch this movie, I hope none of you felt that way, because to me, I didn't think there was anything wimpy about any of this stuff. I thought the guys were real kick-ass men, and I loved it. Yeah. I love that. I love that scene.
The poem that Natalie reads as she's narrating the first part of it, while she's running for her life, she starts this poem with, "There's a meadow in my perfect world where the wind dances the branches of a tree, casting leopard spots of light across the face of a pond. The tree stands tall and grand and alone, shading the world beneath it. There will come a day when I rest against its spine and look out over the valley where the sun warms but never burns. I will watch where leaves turn green, then amber, then crimson, then no leaves at all. But the tree will not die, for in this place winter never comes. It's here in the cradle of all I hold dear. I guard every memory of you. And when I find myself frozen in the mud of the real, far from your loving eyes, I will return to this place, close mine, and take solace in the simple perfection of knowing you." That fucking poem just like hit, and I'm like, I gotta find it. And if you just search for the poem from Wind River, you're gonna find 70 or 80 websites that
they've got. That's the poem that was hanging on the wall.
Yeah, that's the one that's hanging on the wall, and you can pause the movie and read it all, but it fucking hits. And I mean, when it hits, it's like you're reading it, and you have to look at it as an aspect of, here's a father holding the words of his daughter, who he can't hug anymore.
Yeah. But see, all you have left is the memories, and that's what he was trying to tell his friend. If you hold it in, you're going to lose that. And that's one reason why I think he left that poem, framed it and hung it right there in the prominent spot in his house, so that every day when he looked at it, it kept him human. It kept him the dad that he always wants to be to his daughter. He never wants to lose that, because once he loses that, she's no longer there, And, I haven't lost a child, but I have a sister that lost her daughter, and in a really bad car accident. She was hit by a semi in her car, and she died. And her boyfriend called me because he couldn't remember Jamie's parents' phone number. And then it was up to us to call my sister and tell her that they needed to call. And it was devastating. The whole thing was devastating. And you have blank spots. You have spots in your life where you don't have any memories. You can't remember anything. It's so tragic. You just have black spots in your mind. And I still can't remember a lot of things during that time. And that's why our brains are like, it's like a computer. It's like the erase button gets pushed so that you never have to go back and look at that again. And that's why it's so important for people to get the right therapy and the right treatment and have love from other people. That's why family is so important, to have sisters or brothers or cousins or best friends, moms, grandmas. We're meant to have family units. That's how God wanted us to be. We have our own little tribe, to take care of each other. Hunter gatherers, the ones who cook, the ones who raise the kids, the ones who, love the lover when the hunter comes home, in rejoicing, that kind of thing. It's all meant to work as one, so that when we get to the end of our lives, when you die and they bury you, you're not gone, because you're still in their heart. You're still in their head. Your things that you made, or the things that you did, or you talked about, or the songs that you sang, all that lives on in the people that are still alive. And that's why I love this, because the whole time you're hearing that poem throughout the movie being spoken, at different parts during the movie because it's inspiring. And you got to remember, it's Jeremy Renner, basically, that's thinking this poem in his head. He probably has it completely memorized because his daughter is the one that wrote it. So that's what I'm talking about. The character arc of Jeremy's character throughout this movie to the end, when he finally gets to get justice, at the very end, because he told her, I'm not going to bring him back, when she's in the hospital bed. And she said, I know. So she basically said, go take care of it. I'll take care of the paperwork or whatever it takes, because she knows that he deserved it. And he wasn't just doing it for his best friend's daughter. He was doing it for his own daughter. Because you got to remember, he never found out. We don't know what happened to her. We don't know if she just got lost in the woods. We don't know, because the coyotes got to her body. And
in a perfect world, that's all that happened to her.
Mm-hmm.
But
he's going to always, now that he went through everything with this other girl, when Tiffany died, he's at that in his head. How do you not think that? Just like I said, when your child is a half hour late, the first thing you're thinking is terrible things. You just can't help it. It's just a natural thing. Oh my God, they got in a car accident, or they're in a ditch somewhere. Someone's got them. I don't know why we do that. We just do it. And it's not something we do on purpose. We do it because we love our kid. You want to keep them safe. That's all you want. And to me, that's the worst thing that can ever happen to a parent, is to lose a child, because you lose it to being kidnapped. You don't know, especially the ones that never find out what happened. I don't know how. I don't. That would be the horrible thing. Like that one gentleman that happened during the whole Israel thing, when he found out his daughter was taken by the Hamas people. And then later on, they were able to get her body back from him because she was dead. And he said that he was happy that she was dead. He said, I'm glad that she's dead, because I know that they can't hurt her anymore. I'd rather her be here and have her body and bury it than to know that she's still with them and never get her back, because I would never know what was going on or what was happening to her. So and I can't get mad at him for saying that. He's her dad. He has every right to have whatever feelings he's got. But the writer of this story and the director, him being the director too, to write it down on paper, to take all the time to write down all these characters, all the things that he wants the story to tell us, and then to be able to direct it and visualize it and see it come to life. Oh my God, that must have been wonderful for him. I would love to sit and talk to the director just to ask him questions about it, because in some of the things that I was able to find, he talks about how he heard so many stories about young women that just disappeared, or they were assaulted, and there was, because they didn't live on the reservation, the people that came on the reservation and did these things, there was nothing they could do about it, because they didn't have anyone to help them, to capture the people.
The movie is erroneous in a couple things, but we're okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
In reality, if you have a native girl get raped by non-natives, the FBI absolutely has fucking jurisdiction, and can start going through the process of figuring out who, what, when, where, how, where, when. And she could have done that, but this movie script is another thing.
Mm-hmm.
For the movie script to be the way it is, she has to have roadblocks. So this at least Sheridan was smart in his errors, but he did the right research. He found out everything, and it's tragic what happens in reality on the reservations to young ladies. What was the number? Hold up. Let me go back here to the trivia. 12 unsolved murders.
Yeah.
In a res of about 6,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
I get it.
That's a lot.
I think this movie was pretty amazing as to how the slow burn operates and how you get a chance to learn more about the main characters. And you learn mainly about the main characters not through anything they're saying, but through the things that they're doing. And that's the other part about it. For this movie being a very verbal film, this is a very kinetic script, script.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very surprised that so much of the information you get about the characters derives from the action, when a lesser scriptwriter would have actually just like done exposition or had like the episode 1 bullshit where, hey, we got all the characters on screen, get us a couch. And
Yeah.
episode 1, here we are, we're all on a couch.
Mm-hmm.
And just fucking I'm sorry, you prequel lovers, but I fucking hate the prequels. Although I do want one of those couches. Those things look comfy as hell. Sorry.
Well, the whole thing, when you got to go to the different homes, right?
Mm-hmm.
To try to find, well, she's trying to piece this case together. And she's heartbroken when she thinks she's got something going. And then she goes to hear about the cause of death, right? And how the coroner is going to write it all down for the paperwork she's got to submit. And when she finds out that he's going to put on there that she died from the environment, basically from running so far until her lungs filled up with blood and the blood crystallized because it was frozen. And that's what killed her. Her lungs burst. That she wasn't murdered, basically, even though she was murdered. She was scared so bad for whatever was happening and going on that she was running, willing to run for miles and miles and miles, barefooted, no gloves, and basically thin pajama pants on, and a little jacket and a tank top. That's it. And it was below zero outside. And she ran for miles. So she felt that this woman was murdered. That she was forced. She had no life, and that's the only choice she had was to run. And so she was murdered, even though technically the coroner couldn't put that she was murdered, that she died from the environment, basically. So that's what made her say, we got to figure out a way to get around all this stuff so that she could do that. So the fact that they were able to get those 2 young detectives or sheriffs, what do you call them, deputies,
mm-hmm.
From off the reservation to come and go with them when they went up to the oil rig facility where they had the trailers for the workers.
Yep.
With them.
Living
and the good thing about it was that young buck of the deputy, he was spot on. He could tell that there was something not right. He had that feeling, and he was the one that pulled his weapon first because he knew that that guy was trying to flank him. They were surrounding them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and he knew. So everyone was like thinking, "Oh, he's young. He just wants to start a fight," but he wasn't. After he dies, we realized that this kid knew exactly what was going to happen because he could tell. He just had the instinct that he knew that shit was about to hit the fan, and he was right. Except that they were outgunned. I mean, they were outgunned when they got there. That was a very good scene, the shootout. And, I think a couple, was it 6 Nations that made the comment about the weapon when he was shooting with the gun that blew him back like he was getting shot by a cannon?
Yeah, that's a problem in a lot of Tarantino films too. Once Upon a Time in Mexico being the one I
loved it. I didn't give a shit. The fact that these guys were getting shot with hollow points or whatever it was, it made their bodies explode. I loved it.
If you wear fucking Kevlar or fucking layers of ballistic protection, then you're going to get your ass knocked back like 10, 20, 15 feet, whatever.
Well, that one guy, remember the one that ran up the mountain? He did have a bulletproof vest and stuff on.
But the thing is that not all those guys had that.
No, and the 2 guys in the trailer.
When the person gets shot, most of the time they don't even acknowledge it. They stay right there, and they continue to shoot for another 4 or 5 seconds, or they kind of examine themselves. But it takes usually about 8 to 12 seconds for the body to realize, oh, bad things are happening. and they hit. That's the majority of things I've seen. And I'm not like a guy that goes out and follows cops or anything. I just know this for the fact that whenever I was doing law enforcement studies, that was one thing they always told us. After you pull the trigger once on a bad guy, try to ascertain yourself behind cover and give it the benefit of a few heartbeats, because usually you've hit them, but most people don't even like fall down immediately. They just like continue to stand there and try to pump bullets your way. But then about 15 to 30 seconds later, they're not a target. They're on the ground gasping for life, blood all around, and they realize they've been shot. But a lot of times it doesn't happen where the realization happens. And the movies have given everybody such a shitty idea of what a gunfight is that I'm
Well,
sorry.
you got to remember
critical of
too,
that.
it's a movie, and they have
It
to
is a
try to
movie.
make it as exciting, as dramatic as they possibly can. And to me, I thought they did a very good job at making this dramatic and tragic, and but without going too far over the top. I mean, it was. I thought they did a great job at trying to make it as realistic as possible, but also exciting.
Yeah, they did a
If
good
they
job.
shot her right in the chest, okay, and the shrapnel came off and went into her neck and stuff. That's how come she was injured so bad.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't because a bullet went in, and yeah, it freaking hurts. I've been shot wearing one of those plastic like vests that you wear when you do paintball stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done lots of the paintball wars, which is great, especially if you have an automatic weapon where you can go, and shoot somebody with it. As long as you try not to, we always tried to say, don't shoot anyone in the face. And we tried not to. And some of us would wear face gear, but it hurts. You'd be covered with bruises. You're covered with bruises afterward. But I've gotten hit a few times, and I'm telling you, it knocked the wind out of me. I mean, it did. So, especially when it's multiple shots at one time, right in the chest or in the back, right in the middle of your back, it knocks the wind out of you. So, the thought of getting hit with a gun or a bullet of some sort, I don't know what kind of gun the guy had, that hit her right in the chest while she was standing in front of the door.
I want to say it was
that would really hurt.
I thought it was a shotgun blast.
Yeah, it might have been. I don't know. I was just so freaking out watching the scene.
But she
I didn't know, and I couldn't tell you what caliber all the weapons were and stuff. I'm not a man. I mean, I've shot guns, but I use a 9mm, and that's all. I don't worry about it. I just load my gun. I don't even think about it in the terms that men seem to. I don't know. It's just funny sometimes. But I just thought they did a really good job at making it very exciting, but it didn't seem over the top stupid to me.
No, it was not Once Upon a Time in China. I will appreciate that. But I fucking hate that movie. I'm not apologizing for it.
But the part of him being up on the mountain, and finding the mountain lion and her cubs, but then finding the bodies where they, because that guy one of them was using the sled being pulled behind a snowmobile, basically to get rid of the bodies, and and leaving them up there knowing there's mountain lions to eat the corpses. Basically, it's pretty gross. So you're going to have mountain lions that like to eat human flesh. So there's a bunch of complications going on with that whole thing. But the fact that he was using his special rifle that he was using earlier in the beginning of the movie to shoot the coyotes.
I'm not against the mountain lions eating human flesh just for the fact that they would do that anyway. This isn't an aberrant behavior. This is normal behavior for them. It's just behavior that they don't usually get so richly rewarded with. And
most people don't kill people and take them and feed them to the mountain lions. That's what I was meaning. That whole reading. That was all.
Okay.
That was gross.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, I could always throw the ridiculous argument at you, but Betty White fed people to alligators in Lake Placid.
But the thing is, too, is that it happens in real life. People get attacked by mountain lions a lot on bike trails. Kids get attacked. People's dogs and cats go missing when you live in the woods with mountain lions. I mean, I got a video on my channel showing a big black bear looking for food and snacks on my front porch, and I was ready to go out on the front porch to save my baby chicks. They were in the chicken house, like, 25 feet away from that bear. And my 9mm wouldn't have done any damage.
If Janet has like another channel set up and it's actually got good streaming quality, where you have like Chicken City but Janet style, and like what type of super chat is it when you summon the black bear to eat the chicks?
That'd be horrible.
I'm sorry.
I haven't seen it since, and that doesn't mean that it isn't out there.
I think he got scared. He smelled you. He's like, I'm not sticking around here. That's a mama bear. She's going to protect everything I see here. I'm not going to fuck around in this place. I'm out. And he's not been back since.
No, I haven't seen it. But and I know it's still out.
Mountain lion behavior, but mountain lion is an ambush predator, and there's been plenty of documented attacks where they've killed people or attacked and grievously wounded people. So I'm pretty okay with them eating a corpse. I'm also okay with, like, if I act kind of weird lately, or like I get kind of paranoid when you mention, like, man, I wonder how fast the swine in Texas could debone a person. I'm just gonna kind of like, oh, I don't hear that question. I don't hear the comment. I'm over here. I don't want to know. Anyway. Oh wait, did I say that? I'm sorry.
But the good thing about it is the little bit of a relationship that builds up between the two main characters,
Lambert and Banner.
And they talk a lot, but it's basically about the crime and what happened to his daughter, basically. Yeah. And they become, I don't know, it's like kindred spirits in a way, because they both want the same thing. Okay. They both want justice for these girls and what these people did, even though that goes against everything she's not supposed to do, basically, as an FBI agent. It works. It works in the story because the acting is so good. I felt that you were rooting for him. You were rooting for her to kick ass and for him to be able to kick ass right beside her, basically, to get the bad guys. And that's what you want, even though, you might have a couple of people say, well, they were breaking the law, blah, 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 but I don't care. I don't care. The bad guy got what he got in the end. That one guy that we saw started all of it, basically. And he was probably the one that was doing most of the stuff and taking the bodies up there and stuff. That one really disgusting pig at the end.
Yeah. Pete.
So to get to see him get his up and comings, and get to see Jeremy's character get to say, okay, you told me the truth and I told you I'd let you go. So go. So leave.
I loved it. I love how he predicted, like, Natalie ran 6 miles. Mm-hmm. You won't make it 600 yards. Mm-mm. And
he was way high up there too.
Yeah, you're way high up. You like, I'm making fun
in oxygen.
I'm a fat fuck, but I wouldn't have like done that to a person. Mm-hmm. Like I wouldn't have like committed Pete's crimes against other people, but I could see myself expiring after like a 700-yard run at the top of a mountain, and just like, okay, well, I guess this is where the lungs crystallize, and I'm dead. Why? Because you're fat, you're out of shape, and you're running barefoot in the snow. Good job, Bruce.
It's not just that; it's the way you breathe. Remember what he said? You can't gasp for air. You can't be. Mm-hmm. You can't be, go because you're running or whatever. You're overexerting yourself. You have to go at a normal pace, and you have to let the air stay in your lungs longer to keep it warm, so it doesn't crystallize. The moisture in your lungs, and that's why it was important to listen a little bit about what the coroner was trying to explain to her, even though she'd already heard it from. Jeremy Renner's character, right? Mm-hmm. So when he was explaining it to her about what happened, it was gruesome enough that when he was showing, when you got to see her laying there frozen and the snow in her hair and everything, they did a really good job making her look like she was frozen as hard as a rock, basically,
Yeah.
and frozen blood and everything. I don't know how many people have seen blood in snow, but it sure looked real to me. You know, it was pretty authentic, all of it to me. The special effects that they used for the makeup and the you know, the dead coyotes that he was dragging, you know, after he shot them and tagged them, and he was taking them off to wherever he takes them to. But I thought they did a great job at making everything look authentic to me and realistic and believable for the story. Even the actress that played his wife and the little boy that played his son, I just thought they were great. I thought everybody did such a good job in this movie. I was really impressed. Even seeing it the third time, this was the third time I got to watch it, it just got better. You know, usually movies don't. Usually you find more and more mistakes, more flaws. But it was like I noticed so much more about the scenery, the desolation around these people. And it was breathtakingly beautiful, but hauntingly scary at the same time to me. By looking at it, thinking about having to be stuck out there in the middle of the night, running for my life or something. It was just scary as hell to me. But the director did a phenomenal job at getting that story across without beating you over the head with it. I don't know if that makes any sense to anyone.
Well, yeah, it was a very well done story, and the crime of what happened to the poor girl, and then worse yet, like it's just one more story on the pile of here's a pile
Renner, sorry, Renner.
Here's a pile of dead Native American women, and this happens every year. Fuck, you know, like. Can we go back and like fix that ruling and get rid of Oliphant versus I'll get the case here in just a second. Oliphant versus Suquamish. I mean that was a 78 case that needs to be okay. You've done more harm than good. You need to get rid of it.
It was based on real cases, but it was based on multiple cases that he put together, and then he made how they found the actual killers. There's so many cases he was talking about with some of the people from some of the tribes around there. I'm answering a person that Pat Man, he wrote something in there about, was this based on a real case?
No.
Basically, it wasn't a one case, it was multiple cases, and he made a story to bring those to the forefront so people would pay attention to how many horrible crimes happen on Indian reservations that are never solved because of lack of manpower or funds, or nobody gives a shit.
They've compartmentalized.
Yeah.
They compartmentalized the authorities with this one case, and they've made it to where you can't have good decision making, good information sharing. Nothing good happened because of this case, and it forces people to basically just accept the fact that your land where you're at, and you're raising your grandkids and your fucking tribe, you're going to have a lot of dead bodies show up, and you can't prosecute, can't do anything to it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to agree with this here. Six Nation, 31 Kings. I have no idea what snow and blood looks like. Do you hear that, Clancy? No idea. For those who don't know, Clancy's the guy in the van with the listening equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Just down the road.
Well, I've shot squirrels and deer in snow, so I know what it looks like, and they did a good job. Especially when it melts because it's warm, and then it freezes up because it's so cold. That's what it looked like. It looked authentic to me. So I'm not gonna dig too deep in it, but they did a good job. Everything they did with the snow, like when the blizzard came, when they were waiting for the FBI to show up, And then she said it was just snowing.
The
We were in a
blizzard is
blizzard a
real.
minute ago. And
Everything you see, every bit of snow in that movie, that wasn't CGI.
mhm.
They're ferrying around all the movie making equipment on snowmobile because nothing will properly transit in the pickup trucks or Tacomas or Suburbans they've got.
Mhm.
The roads just aren't fucking there in the quality you need. So you just have to understand that this movie was a miracle to get on film the way it is. This
Yeah,
movie,
because I guarantee everybody was freezing their ass off.
yeah, fucking
For
John
sure.
Bernthal lost 4 toenails
But
during a fight in the trailer.
yeah, yeah, 4 toenails. He hurt 4 of his toes in that trailer fight because it was tight. It was tight in there, and it looked like he got the shit beat out of him. I mean, they did a good job. The whole
Makeup
setup
was
of
really
making it
good.
look like a fight. A bunch of drunks. Oh, it was horrible. I was crying during that scene. It was really sad. It was heartbreaking to me. It was very emotional. But
Now, for those of you that want to know, Jeremy Renner's character, he has a 4570. It's an older cartridge developed in 1873 for the U.S. Army. It's still in use for like antique rifles and replicas. For that reason, commercial ammo the commercial ammo manufacturers keep the pressure low for safety. But Corey has a modern version of the 4570, a Marlin Model 1895 SBL, fitted with a telescopic sight in while hunting a mountain lion. And this is why he hand loaded the 4570 ammunition. He was making a cartridge with higher pressure than he could get in a normal round, and so the loads have more velocity and greatly improved ballistic performance. This movie went as far as they could reasonably with the information to be proper and tactical. I like that. I got to see more Taylor Sheridan stuff. That's all I got to say.
well, the thing is, I think that's one of the reasons why they wanted to put that scene in the movie, showing him making his own bullets. So you kind of get an idea of anyone that knows anything about guns and ammo, that when you're out there like that, you pretty much you have to make your own bullets, because you'd run out depending on what happens, on a daily basis. And what happens if there's a blizzard or something like that and you can't get out and you can't go to the store and buy them. You have to have the means to make your own, to survive out there, to eat, or protect yourself from a bear or wolves or coyotes or whatever else, that might come at you. So I just thought the detail, that's what I mean, the detail that went into this movie, just little things like that, like the way his cabin was set up and the way the houses were set up, the snow on the roofs, all the different things like that. I just thought it was above and beyond what you would think. You know what I mean? The detail, he just seemed to see everything. And I think it had a lot to do because he was the writer and the director. So I think that had a lot to do with it, why it was so good when it came to that part.
This is okay. I've been finding this out the more when I started learning about this movie. I figured this out about the Marlin because of this movie. This movie is the current Death Wish 3. For those that aren't not aware, Death Wish 3 is a classic movie that we will probably get to watch this year. Janet hasn't seen it yet; she needs to. But there's a gun in that movie, the Wildy. It's a nice little 45 that Chuck carries. And every time this movie was on television, the Wildy would have like this spike in sales. Because of this movie, Wind River, the 4570s made a big fucking comeback in the last 5 to 10 years. And yeah, it does kick like a beast. If you're not used to a proper, proper stance, you're gonna fuck yourself up with this piece. But I'm gonna tell you that I made a phone call to Drury's Guns the other day when I was looking at this movie, and I'm like, I got a question about a movie, Wind River. He's like, we don't have any 4570s in stock right now. I'm like, what? The Marlin that he carries? I'm like, what? And he rattles off the proper name of the fucking gun, and I'm like, I just wanted to know, like, he's like, it's really popular. I got to go. That was Drury's Guns on North 410. But this is accurate. And then Henry makes a 45-70. And we have a testament saying they're good for bear and elk. Obviously, these are weapons for larger targets. I don't recommend anything because I'm not a weaponsmith, armorsmith. I did have a military career, or military time, I should say, but I'm not a good person to like, oh, well, Bruce said, no, don't say that. I can just say, when you ask a question about the 45-70, this is like something that a gun store will be happy to spec order for you or try to get one of them in for you. But do not expect miracles, and do expect a little bit of pain, because the 3 people that I know that have had experience with these, they tell you, handle it properly. You won't suffer the kicks as bad. I'll let you speak, Janet.
Well, I was just going to say, someone, Six Nation, was talking about a movie that I want to review. Quigley Down Under. I definitely want. That's another movie that I would love to put on our list, because I love that movie. That's a good one too. So I don't think I'm the only one that's seen that movie and liked it. I loved this movie, and I was really surprised when I suggested we watch it, and you said you hadn't seen it before, and I was like, "What? I thought you liked him."
Jeremy Renner. I've only seen a handful of his movies outside of Marvel bullshit, but I thought this was a really good film.
Because I remember, I don't know, I think I pissed off a few people. I was on I don't know if it was one of our shows or what show I was on, but I was talking about that I didn't think he did very good job acting as his part, even though I liked his character and I thought he did a good job. But it seemed like he needed more one-on-one time, because he just seemed like he was like, like that. I said that, and I got some people that told me that I was. Oh, no, not this movie. Okay. The one where he's Hawkeye.
Oh.
Okay. Oh. And this is why, because I saw him in this before I really paid attention to him in any of the other movies. And to me, it was like he went from a really good actor to like, it just doesn't make, it's not, I know it's not nice to say that, but I loved him in this movie. I just absolutely, I thought he kicked ass. I just thought he was great. I just absolutely fell in love with his character. And I just thought he did so good. And same thing with Elizabeth Olsen. I thought she was so good.
She's really sold me on the fact she's an actual actress.
Yeah, me too. Because if I only saw her as the Scarlet Witch, I would think, okay,
whatever.
Amber Heard, that's, I didn't think she was any better actress than her until I saw her in this movie. And then when I was like, damn, both of them two together, they kicked butt. They were good actors. I mean, they were believable. They made me root for them. They made me want to see them be successful. That means they're good actors. Or you love to hate them. You either got to really hate them or you got to really love them. But if you just kind of like, then they're not very good. They're not, they're just not, they're not, anyone can play that part. I can put it that way.
And speaking of playing the part, like, I hate to say this, but as much as I love Graham Greene and Tantu Cardinal, like, they are your, like, Julia Jones, Graham Greene, Tantu Cardinal, they've been in a lot of stuff together. They were in the Longmire show together. They were in what's the miserable preteen vampire movie about? Or what's that called?
Lost Boys?
One's a vampire and the girl doesn't know which one to fuck. Twilight.
Oh, yeah, Twilight series.
Graham Greene was in that too, and I forgot about that. Mm-hmm. It's right here on his IMDb, and I fucking blanked on it.
Yeah, I posted a picture of her in some sexy jockey strap shorts or something on your Discord. The teeny girl that everybody was dying over. They all wanted the vampire and the werewolf were fighting over her because she was so hot.
That's the part where like we don't give me Kristen Stewart is the hot one, okay?
Oh, that's right, Kristen. That's her name.
Kristen Stewart is not the hot one.
Well,
I don't know what was used in The Gray. I haven't seen that movie yet. I stay away from a lot of Liam Neeson because he doesn't sell it well for me. Like Taken,
I loved him in Rob Roy.
Rob Roy's great. I don't want to see him over the age of 50.
I love him.
He stopped acting in 1996.
No, I don't see that. I think
I don't watch movies with him in it because they're trying to sell me on the same bullshit that they tried selling me on Bruce Willis movies in the last 5 years. Have you seen a recent Bruce Willis movie? You want to be disappointed.
Well, there's a difference between him and Nielsen is because Bruce Willis was, starting to decline on his abilities.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but look at you got Clint Eastwood and is 93 years old and he's directing a movie right now, and I guarantee it's going to be good.
Okay, he's directing. He's not in front of the camera.
It doesn't matter. It still takes skill to be a director.
It does.
Okay, you can't just go back there and just sit in your chair and just point your finger. It just, you know what I mean? It takes effort and a good mind to be able to put things together and get the actors to fulfill their duty to make the characters come to life as the director sees fit. You see what I mean? So it just does.
I'm a dick. I'm a dick.
Sometimes.
I'm going to. This is Liam Neeson trying to use a fence. Look at all those fucking camera angle cuts. I'm sorry. This is why I don't watch Liam Neeson movies.
It's not Liam Nielsen's fault that the editing shit. You see what I mean? Editing has a lot to do with it.
There's like 20 cuts there. No.
But that's not him.
No.
That's not his fault. That's the editor. That's why I said it takes all these thousands of people to make a movie. The actor only does one part. Okay. Then you have other people that do all the other stuff. And then if the dum-dum that's supposed to edit it doesn't put it together good, that ruins it for everybody because the editing is shit. You've seen how many movies have we watched that we just said, man, it would have been good if you had someone else edit the movie.
Okay.
Like Ice Pirates. There was some great stuff in there, but to me, it got cut out or something. It was missing. So
there's a real movie there somewhere in the discarded bits of movie, but in the cutting room floor, we'll never see it.
Well, it's because somebody didn't want it to be successful or something. I don't know. I don't know what the reason behind it is, but there's a lot of reasons why someone would get a bad editor on purpose. I don't know. But editing does make a difference. And they had a good editor in this movie.
But okay, there's a difference, Cal. I don't look at you like you're an action hero. But they keep trying to sell me on Liam Neeson, 65 years old, action hero.
Well, you can hate him if you want, but you can't get mad.
I just refuse to.
I'm just saying you can't get mad at people like me that like him.
No. There's boomer shooter movies that are great, like Nobody or John Wick. John Wick is a boomer. I call it a boomer shooter movie, but he's like 50 years old in John Wick when 2014 happened. Mm-hmm. And he's kind of slowed down a little bit in John Wick 3 and 4, but it's still very well done. He still does his own stunts. He still does his own martial arts.
Did you see the movie Nobody?
Nobody's great, but that's not the typical. That's
Christopher Lloyd kicks ass in that movie, and he's way over.
Christopher Lloyd was not a martial artist. He was a man with a gun, an old man with a gun.
It doesn't matter. He did good. I'm just saying, you just have to. I don't know. You just need to step back a little bit and look at it. Was it really Nielsen's fault or was it the editing?
Okay.
That scene you just showed me was nothing to do with the actor. It was the editor. They sucked.
A man's got to know his limitations.
Well, yeah. Everyone should. All of us should. And we all have them.
I just don't watch the Taken movies. I can't.
Yeah, Nobody was kick-ass. I love that movie. That's another movie we need to review. That was a good movie. And I never in a million years would have picked him. Yeah, what's wrong with that? Didn't you guys see the movie Cocoon? That's what they did.
Hey, Kronos.
Hi, Kronos. Cocoon was good. It was all old people.
Yeah, but they're not action heroes. I mean, they did some special effects stuff, but that's supposed to be the
Okay.
movie that way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Whatever.
the alien power that he could dunk. Cocoon's a
Remember,
great
he said he got an erection, and it was like what was it? Some kind of steel. A cat couldn't scratch it.
It's a wonderful movie.
It
That's a
was
movie you watch
great.
with
I
your
love it.
grandkids.
It makes me laugh every time I watch it. It's thought it makes you root for the old people.
You know, the best old people movie we haven't reviewed yet.
Which one?
Red.
Oh, that's great too. I love that movie. That's a good movie too. See,
And
it's
it's a
got old
Bruce
people
Willis
in
film.
it. They kick ass.
Yeah.
Helen Mirren is excellent in that movie.
But I guys, if you want to, if you've seen this movie, you want to, I'll read your scores off, or Janet will read your scores off. If you want Janet to read your scores off, type that in. I want to know what you think about this film. I've got to hear you guys, because I want to hear what you thought of this film. This is a very good movie for me. It's a complicated movie. It's not one that is a typical viewing for me.
Mm-mm.
But holy cow, I was kind of knocked flat. And while we wait for them
I'm
to
so glad you liked it. I was really worried because I was like, oh my God, it's so boring at the beginning. He's going to hate it. And the whole time I'm sitting there going, I know he's hating it. He's hating on it. And then later on when you said you liked it, huh?
I the reason why I didn't abandon it is that it was not a canon film.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as I love canon films, like there are some of those that just never start and they never get going and they suck. But a lot of canon films start off with like a $3 foot chase and a 1979 New Yorker, a Chrysler town car, a giant freaking vehicle which is only destined to explode within the first 7 minutes.
Yeah.
And I love movies like that, so I really do. But this movie, I researched who wrote it and who directed it, and I researched what he's done before. And nobody shuts up about fucking Yellowstone. All of my friends are like, "Oh my God, I love Yellowstone! I love Yellowstone! I love
Yellowstone's good. You haven't seen it? I might have to pay for whatever it is that we have to have so that you can watch it and we can review it, the series.
Janet, I've got access to it.
If we do that,
I've got access to it.
We also have to watch, is it called Pinky Blinders? I want to review that too if we're going to do a series. We're going to do a couple series.
All right. Well,
ones.
the first series we'll be doing is on March 11th, and that'll be for Star Trek Continues.
Mm-hmm. That was so good.
I love that movie, or love that series. That
Series,
was 11 episodes.
Good job.
The best.
It was like watching the original Star Trek to me.
Yeah.
That's how good it was.
The next movie we watch is Romeo and Juliet from 1968.
Yeah, and I haven't seen it.
For those of you that are under the age of 30, you're going to go through puberty again. Olivia Hussey. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say, kids. Janet, what is your score for this movie?
I'm going to give it a solid 9, which is really high because this was the third time I got to watch it. I still got choked up, very emotional, knowing that scene was coming, not remembering every single detail about it. To me, it was really tough this time because normally I always focused on her abuse, what happened to her. Mm-hmm. But this time, for some reason, I felt my heart was breaking for her lover's character because he was fighting 5 men to protect her. Mm-hmm. So that she could get away. And she did get away. He saved her. He saved her life, basically, from them killing her. Because if she hadn't gotten away and was able to run, and she did die, but if she hadn't gotten away and was able to die where they were able to find her, it would have been another unsolved murder. Just think that so basically he died to save her life is what he did. And to me, that was it's very romantic to me. Sorry, I get emotional thinking about stuff like that. But that was just beautiful. I mean, to die for someone else is the biggest sacrifice that you can ever make, I think. You know what I mean?
I do. I think this movie, I yeah,
Plus, I'm real emotional right now. I'm gonna start jury duty tomorrow. My dad's in the hospital. You know, I got a lot of stuff going on, and then watching this movie, and I'm bawling my eyes out. So, you know, I'm sorry, but I can't help it. I'm a girl. I'll blame that. But yeah, it was this was a really good movie. It had a good story, great character arcs for everybody, basically. Even the dweeb Sam that comes to the door, the drug addict that's high as a kite that dies, you know, gets shot in the head at the end, and at the end of his life. And she's been sprayed with bear spray, basically, you know, and she can't see. She has tunnel vision, but she's able to take him out. So, you know, she grew up really quick. Her character arc was huge. And I just thought all of them did such an excellent job. And this was a very well made movie. Even the editing was good. The musical score was good. I mean, just the scenery was beautiful. The special effects were good. I just can't find any flaws in it. I mean, just very subtle, you know, it's so good. I just thought it was great. That's why I'm giving it a solid 9.
Well, Patman thinks this movie is a solid 100%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very close.
That's pretty large. If you're one who can handle a slow burn, investigative type film with serious subject matter, good complicated characters and situations, with a dose of reality tossed in the narrative, watch this film.
Excellent. Yeah, I recommend to everyone. I even got Bruce to watch it, so that's a good thing.
And this is a film. Yeah, I agree with Six Nations. 90 out of 100 for story, acting, and subject. 85 for action. It's a great film. It came out at a time where it could have been in development hell. Yeah, it very well could have been. And give it an 8 because it's hard to stomach. I'm gonna agree with you on that. I'm gonna actually go out and this is in the 7th movie I've rated a 90 or above, and I'm giving this movie a 90%. This movie is not an easy watch, mainly for the fact that, like, watching the men go through their torment, they've lost their daughters. Like, I don't know. I had a girlfriend that she lost a baby 8 weeks into it in 2018. And it was a rough period for me, you know, as could be expected. But I didn't have the experience of raising Adam, and so it was just an impressive thing to see other people in media suffer like this. My suffering was maybe about a week where I was kind of down and out, and after that, you know, we talked and then we broke up, and so like it's a 1-2 punch. A month later, I'm buying hookers again. No big deal. Life is good. And literally bought hookers because there's some things that just sailors do, and sailors do that. So, Matt, are you a sailor? Go buy a hooker. Okay. So,
well, one of the things I wanted to tell everyone about first before we close it out is the director. He's very stubborn, and when he found out what happened with Weinstein, and that he got arrested, and was going to have trial and everything for the rape and, you know, that kind of stuff. He wanted anything that had his name on it gone. He did not want him to have anything to do with this movie because of the premise and the reason he wrote this script and why he wanted to direct it. So I just was proud of him for that. There you go. There it is. It says, after the news of Harvey Weinstein's history of sexual assaults and harassment fully broke in late 2017, Taylor Sheridan called the Weinstein Company's then was it interim chairman David Glassner and gave him an ultimatum. The company would remove its logo and any production credits from the film for all post-theatrical airings and agree to turn down any future compensation from its release. And in return, there would be no other dealings. So Glassner immediately agreed to Sheridan's demands. And I was proud to be able to say that about someone, because a lot of people will say, oh, we care, we do this, we do that, but as soon as they get a chance to get a little extra cheddar for their own selfish purposes, they don't give a shit anymore, so this proves that he did care. Everything he did to get this movie to be the movie it was and tell the story that it did, that proves that he meant what he was doing, and that makes me even like the movie more. So I just thought it was good, and I'm proud of him.
Yeah, I thought this was pretty impressive. They entered it into Sundance without telling producers, and the producers were pissed because they were trying to close a deal with the Weinstein Company for the film, but both things went through Sundance. At Sundance, they put it in like the worth a second glance category. And usually that's like for like more foreign films, but this movie got like an 8-minute standing ovation for what this was. The investigation of rape is for the Bureau of Indian Affairs, not the FBI, but in reality, they have exclusive jurisdiction on 20 crimes on Indian reservations. Rape is one of these, and this movie is really well put together. It took them only 40 days to shoot it, but they're dealing with weather. Might have taken them only 35 in ideal conditions, but this movie was a bear, I bet. There's a lot of things in this movie to unpack. Finding more and more about this movie, I had to do some kind of a small deep dive and learn more about it. And then just the fact that Taylor wanted to make the movie because there's too many Indian girls that just go missing. They're brutally beaten or raped, both maybe, and then they just disappear. And there's too many of them that happens to. So this movie had to get made. And he's a very stubborn individual, like what Janet said. I was really impressed. I'm going to watch more Taylor Sheridan movies and TV shows.
Is he have Indian heritage?
No. He seems like he's just a regular...
I got to go as a kid. I got to go visit relatives on a reservation in Oklahoma, and because my great grandmother was Choctaw Indian. Wow, he's hot. That's him. Damn.
That's him.
I've never met him.
There he looks like one of my buddies.
I'd love to work on one of his movies.
Look at that jawline, Janet. That could get you pregnant right now.
He's not bad looking. He is very attractive.
Oh yeah,
he's in Yellowstone.
Hell or High Water.
Oh,
he did Yellowstone and Hell or High Water and Sicario. That's him from Veronica Mars. Ladies.
Now I recognize him.
There, I recognize
some of these other pictures. Now I recognize him, but no, I didn't recognize him from the first picture you showed me.
He was the cop that wasn't she fucking around the lady from Ultimate Soldier or the Van Damme movie.
No, I don't think that was the same guy. Was it?
No, not the same guy. But he was fucking the blonde-haired lady from the Universal Soldier, and she was in Sons of Anarchy as well. He's plugging her in the movie, I thought, or in the TV series. Naomi Harris and him.
Yeah, Bernenthal's a nice guy. Is that his wife?
Nicole? No.
Oh, that's not his wife?
No. It's just somebody that posed together. They might have been dating.
Well, he looks good in that tux right there, but he looked way better with that cowboy hat and those jeans. Wow.
Why the fuck is this loser here?
Who knows?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's a loser.
But no, this
But look
movie,
how pretty she is. She's
she is a pretty girl,
beautiful.
but she's also Mary Kate and Ashley's sister, little
I
sister at
know.
that. But she's
They look
she's.
they look a lot alike. All the
Mhm.
siblings. Hmm.
I hope he makes more movies. I like what he did with this. I want to watch more. That's all I'm going to say.
So that's the cast. That's some of the cast from the
Yeah,
movie. Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
Gil, Norman, Elizabeth, Jeremy, Taylor, Julia, and Kelsey.
Hmm.
This really,
I really love this movie. I just thought it was so well done.
I think my favorite part of the film was when Lambert got peace at the end by looking at the photos of his daughter and her, the deceased Natalie, together when they were alive and just a few years before. When he saw that, and he's like, "Now you two can be together," I could just kind of seal that, like the trauma for him, the suffering is at
Because
a close.
last night when we were finished and I was talking about how good I felt knowing that he got revenge for his daughter, okay, even though he was also getting revenge for Natalie's dad, right?
Mhm.
And then you said, well, we don't know what she died from. And I go, well, it doesn't matter because she was taken from him and those people could have been the ones.
Yeah, could have,
And he'll never know for facts because
but
the coyotes got to her body.
there's a with certain loss, you're better off not turning over stones and trying to find answers.
Mhm. He doesn't
And
need them.
no, you don't need them. Like there's a certain point, like it's been 3 years for him, and it sucks being a dad of a deceased daughter,
Hmm.
but he's doing his best to just move on and accept those happy memories that interrupt his day thoughts, his work thoughts,
Well, he
and like
has
with him and
to.
his daughter,
Just like I said, he had to move on because he had a son.
Mhm.
And I've seen so many horrible families break up and relationships break up because of the death of a child. And what's really sad is when they have other children. They have living children that lose both their parents because they can't deal with the fact that they lost a child. And that's why the Adam Walsh case to me was so heartbreaking because they didn't get divorced. They fought, they lost her son, and he didn't blame her for it. You know what I mean? She was the one that had him. She was with him. She was with her son when he got taken. And I'm telling you, it tears marriages apart. It tears relationships apart, whole families. Brothers, sisters. Like what I just recently went through with my niece. Right? Okay, I'm going with my nephew to court and stuff for his daughter, young daughter that was assaulted, and the person that assaulted her that we were going to court against was her uncle, the brother, my nephew, which is my niece. Her husband's the one that did it. Okay, but my sister, and these are her children, and she's in denial. She doesn't believe it. She thinks that the daughter made it up. Her granddaughter made up the story. It's not real. So it's tore us up. I mean, we're not close anymore. We don't spend a lot of time together, and there's other things going on too besides just that. It's a lot of stuff going on, but emotionally, it's really hard to try to stay up there when all you want to do is punch somebody. You know what I mean? So it's tough, and the fact that that's one of the reasons it was so deep for me and to watch it, because of a lot of emotional stuff going on. It's an emotional roller coaster, basically, especially if similar things like what's going on in this movie has happened. I'm not saying that I had someone disappear or was raped and murdered, but my niece died, just like I said, and we had to deal with the whole thing. And I still have black areas in my memories. I can't remember, because traumatic events like that cause problems. And when you started saying it, what you said tonight, after I said that about him getting revenge for his daughter, and we kind of butted heads a little bit last night because you didn't seem to see it that way. But I guess overnight, the more you thought about it, the more you realized that it was a good character arc for him, because he did. It helped him get past even more on what happened with his daughter, because he feels in his heart that he got the people that were responsible, and whether it was true or not, it doesn't matter. It's in his heart, and he believed it. And all of us have to deal with trauma whatever way we can, and if it helps you get past something so that he can be there for his living child, then good. That to me is a win-win. And he saved other girls from ever happening to them, and they're all out of the picture now. There's none left. They all of them paid for their crimes, which was great. So we had a wonderful ending with that, and that the father get to find out that his best friend killed his daughter's killer, basically. And I just thought it was wonderful. I thought the whole thing was great. The only thing I wish we could have had, it would have been a 10 for me, is if at the end you saw him walking hand in hand with his son and his wife, something like that they were going to work on it and try to get back together again. That would have been
that ship sailed
for me. No, I'm just saying, just like me, I'm a girl. I see that stuff, and I always want the best ending I can get, and that would have made it perfect for me, that they were able to work past it. So, but she didn't deal with it. See, what he was telling his best friend about not to do is what his wife was doing. She was getting to where she hated everything and everyone. She couldn't get over that. She wouldn't deal with the pain and get past it. And it was ruining her life. So it's sad, but that's facts. That's reality, even though it was a movie. The stuff that was going on and the feelings that were involved was all real for somebody in the world, in real life. So I just thought that was really good.
I thought I really liked this movie. This was one of the better movies you could have picked.
I'm glad, because you hated Powder so much. I was like, oh God, don't let it end up like that. I was really worried you were going to hate it. But the movie was exactly what I said it was going to be. What I told you, it was going to be a movie where the director tried to shove his agenda down everyone's throats instead of letting us watch a movie and make our own decision. And that's exactly what he did in Powder. In this movie, he didn't. He put it was like putting a painting on a wall. When you walk by a painting in a museum, no one's cramming it in your face or standing there saying, oh, see this, and this color does this, and this does that. You look at it, you absorb the information, and you take from it what you need to visualize whatever's in the painting. Everyone will see different things, different colors bounce out to different people, different shapes or angles will come out to different people depending on what it is that you like in art, right? Mm-hmm. And some people will hate it, and some people will say, oh my God, it was one of the most beautiful paintings. It almost made me cry. It's emotional. Art is emotional, whether it's music or a movie or dance, ballet or whatever. Or sculptures, all these things, and it can all affect all of us differently. And but he did such a good job at taking the picture in his head, putting it on paper, and then bringing it to life with a moving movie, that moved. So we could watch it and try to envision what he was trying to get us to see. And each of us would take and dissect different things from it. But basically, he didn't cram anything down our throat. He let us make our own decision by watching it. But he was able to make it real for all of us that watched it. So I just thought he was a wonderful director and a wonderful writer. So to me, he's got, 4 stars for both. I just thought he was awesome.
I was I was very happily surprised by this film. This is a movie that I wouldn't shut up to my parents about on the way home today from work, and I
Had they seen it?
no, they my mom
Oh,
doesn't
I
watch
hope
movies
they
I like.
watch it. It's
My
good.
my mother does not watch movies I like. She watches movies with Barbara Stanwyck and things directed by Al, Alfred Hitchcock and things like that. She likes the don't show graphic sort of thing.
Well, this isn't too graphic. This
Not
isn't
really.
getting too graphic.
It does have some powerful spots to it. It does have a very rough to watch ambush at the trailers at
Hmm.
the housing. And if you've not seen it yet, just enjoy. But
But the thing is, another thing that I liked about the way he went about it is he didn't have to show us all the gory details. You know, some movies go so far and have to show you the penetration. They got to show you everything for you to visualize it. To me, you don't have to have that. The acting and the way that they played against each other, back and forth. I just thought it was enough. You got enough, and I mean, I was brought to tears, and I didn't even have to see it. I knew what was going on and what was about to happen, and that was all I needed. And so everyone doesn't have to have all the directions wrote out for us, because we do have our own brains. We can figure things out and put things together for ourselves, and that's one thing I liked about this director's way he goes about showing us a story and bringing it to life without having to overdo it. He didn't have to drown us in it. You know what I mean? So I just loved him. I think it's great. I'm so glad that I got to see him bring one of his scripts that he wrote to life on his own.
this is not a spec script that somebody said, "Hey, I want you to do this."
Mm-mm.
The other two movies, Sicario and what was the other one he did?
Oh, I can't
From
remember
Hell
the
or
name.
High Water. Hell or High Water. That movie was both of those were inspired by other people's requests. This movie here, he just kind of made the script up after being confronted with the facts about a reservation.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
This is a barrel crab, Kronos. I don't know where my friend the crafting gamer got it, but I love it, and it's a great little mini. So I'm going to paint the shit out of it. But I like this movie, and I think this movie deserves to be seen by more people. Don't expect a very easy watch. You might turn into a crying wreck of a human being at the end of the movie. It's not a movie that is good for kids.
Mm-mm.
It's a movie that's really good for adults. It's very much a same type of movie as No Country for Old Men. If you like that type of movie, step right up. If you don't, all right, probably not.
Well, I just tell people for this movie for sure to watch the trailer. If you watch the trailer and you think that this is something that you'd be interested in watching, you're definitely going to enjoy it, because it's got everything that the trailer. The trailer doesn't give away too much either. It's very subtle. It draws you in, but it intrigues you enough to where you want to sit and watch the movie. And if you can make it through the first 20 minutes of the movie without going, "Oh my God, it's so boring," and actually just try to look at the scenery and learn about the characters, absorb what they're doing and why they're doing it, it's going to draw you right in, and you're going to really, really enjoy this movie, because it's good. It's a great story. It's got a good ending. It's got great character arcs. I thought it had plenty of action, but it just wasn't gunfights, and fisticuffs. It was action with what happens out in the woods, with people that hunt, people that like to ride snowmobiles and things like that. So it depends on what you consider. You got to have high action. If you're expecting to go see something like John Wick, no, this is not anything like John Wick or anything like that. So this is a story.
Uh,
and it unfolds.
for people out there that want to see this movie, the trailer for it, I'm going to share this with you. Go ahead. Here's the link. Go ahead and check that out.
Mm-hmm.
I would air it, but the movie's it's a quality film. I don't want you to have anything given away, but just watch it. Just watch this film. It's a very, very good film. It's mostly realistic. The only part about it that's probably not realistic is Ashley Olsen lives. I'm sorry, not trying to be a downer, but that would have brought the movie to a halt, and can't really have that. So,
Well, she could have died if they hadn't gotten her to the hospital, because that shrapnel did go up into her throat,
mm-hmm.
and that's why he got to finish his character arc.
So next Monday we are reviewing the excellent movie known as Romeo and Juliet from 1968 with Olivia Hussey.
And who wanted us to watch this?
I did.
Okay. I didn't know if somebody requested it.
I wanted to watch it because Olivia Hussey is amazing, and when you watch it, you'll agree with me. You'll be like, oh, okay, I could understand why you wanted that. Yes, she plays a really good character. She plays Juliet in this movie, but her portrayal of Juliet, she does a very good job of being a very emotionally charged teenager that she is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not easy for an adult to do that because a lot of adults don't want to role play or play as a teenager. She does fantastic work.
Well, I'm excited about getting to watch it next Sunday. And don't forget, anyone who wants to come watch the movie with us, pay attention to Bruce.
We'll be putting the link in the YouTubes and Discords for the link to watch. Mm-hmm. It might be in Gilded where we watch it because Discord shit the bed last time. Sorry, Amber Heard. I'm going to Johnny Depp you.
So, but the thing is, I'll be sharing it on my X about, any information that I get about, because I got a few people. I got 3 people to join us. So.
We had a lot of fun.
They came to watch the movie with us. They tried to watch it. They got to see it because they got the gist of it, I'm sure.
And if you like me and Janet being on the same panel together on Friday nights, she runs what's called the Friday Night Shit Show. And it could start a little earlier from my own perspective, but if you want to start at 8:30 or 8:50, go on ahead.
But if you don't like to talk about politics or anything to do with politics, then you don't want to tune in. Yeah. That's what we're doing. We're bitching and moaning about what bullshit our government is doing. That's what it's about.
So, I mean, I'm pretty certain we're going to talk about what I'm getting ready to show you here.
Mm-hmm. Well, we talk about lots of things. We don't just talk about one thing, which we could.
We have to talk about the New York Police Department dance team. The New York Police Department dance team. There's a dance team for the police department. Fucking city's burning. Might as well have a Kenosha Wendy's memorial pillar of flame.
Well, it's not even shocking to me. You know what I mean? As ridiculous as some of the stuff that's been coming out of New York in the last year, it's like, this doesn't shock me in the least.
But it's community outreach.
I'm shocked that they're all women.
Wow. All right. So that's just one part of the things we'll do.
Travis said, please don't.
For everybody that showed up tonight, for everybody that was here with us last night, we really appreciate you guys being here. Had a lot of fun. One step closer to having a complete set of Orokai for the game. And appreciate everybody being here, listening to us as we ramble on. Without you, we would be just 2 friends laughing our asses off at the silly shit. But thank you for being here with us and laughing with or making fun of us, because there's sometimes where we really have a bad hot take, and I am a good king of that.
But thank you. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us. It's nice.
7:30 next Monday, we'll discuss Romeo and Juliet. Until then, see us on Friday night. My name is Bruce.
I'm Janet.